Hello, Supercoaches. The teams are in for round 7 and we've got so much news to get through. I reckon there's big news on at least 10 really popular Supercoach players. And speaking of big, we've got a massive panel. We've got the SuperCoach Experience boys in. Jett Hatton is in as normal as well. We'll start with Brandon Savage. How's your team travelling?
Oh, it's going awful, but we still persist. I'm hoping with this positive team list that we can bounce back this week.
Yeah, it has been mostly good news in the teams, not the usual carnage, but there is a lot of news to get through. Tim, how's your team travelling?
Going okay. Could do better. There's just like each week there's like a big thing, like it's either the captain or the sit v start's probably the big one for most super coaches each week. It's biting them on the bottle.
Yeah, same for me. I can't get my bench right, can't get my captain right, haven't got a good captain all year. And Jett, how's your team going, mate? You're down at Wollongong watching Dylan Egan score for the Dragons on the weekend.
Yeah, it was good stuff, mate. Even though I didn't play him, I scored 13-37. So, maybe you boys should listen to me this week. The captain choices. Yeah, got Pappenhausen right, had David Feeder in there, played Purdue. So, all happy days, all up for me, hopefully.
As I said, lots of big news in today's teams. What is your biggest takeaway, Savs?
My biggest takeaway is Hiroti from the Sharks has been named. He's probably one of the cheapies of the week, behind another big one. Iro isn't on the extended, and Jett was saying before he reckons he's still a couple of weeks away. Sharky's thing.
Yeah, about 2 weeks away, I reckon.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
There you go. That's enough for Hiroti.
Good for Hiroti. I've got him in. What's your takeaway?
Tago being dropped for the Panthers. I just wonder how much this helps the Panthers fix their defensive issues. We've sort of identified that the Panthers aren't the defensive side of last year and years past, but maybe does it change now? So
yeah, and dropped for noted speedster Luke Garner as well.
Yeah,
it's interesting moves. And Jett, your takeaway?
Mitch Moses for me, being back for Parramatta. I just think it's going to open up for Iongi, Brown, and if you want to move Nico Hines on, which you shouldn't do, Mitch Moses is the guy. So.
Yep, for me it's Egan, Dylan Egan, named on the bench. So he's been demoted to the bench after killing it, getting 99 points as a starter over the weekend. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a game day switch. I'm not worried too much. I still think he's a really good purchase for this week. On to some of the other big news. I'll just run through it quickly. We'll get into detail later into the show. But good news for Matty Nicholson with Hosking back, but Hosking's on the bench. Nicholson's retained his spot. Billy Smith, I think you've got to put a line through him. He's banned for a week. A lot of people are getting on this round. Fafita is starting, so he's a buy. Jerome Hughes, Aloka Atu, Adam Fanua-Blake and Jesse Arthurs all named despite injuries on the weekend. So it's largely a really good teams day. In terms of our Supercoach subscription specials, we've got Supercoach Plus for $29.95 for the year, or you just get a code subscription, $59 for the season, $1 a week. It's an absolute bargain. If you're serious about Supercoach, you just have to have one of those subscriptions. First game, Sea Eagles v the Dragons. The Sea Eagles have Jason Saab back after he was a late withdrawal last week. And as I said, a lock R2 named. So that's big for about 50,000 or so super coaches.
Yeah, for sure. And it's good for that right edge for Ruben Garrick as well. Yep. I think a lot of people will be banking on a big score from him this week.
On to the Dragons. As I said, Egan demoted. I wouldn't be surprised to see a game day change. Plus, they've brought in Matt Fianai, and not Sione Finau on the wing for Christian Tuipulotu. Tuipulotu's an obvious sell. What are your thoughts there on Sione Finau? Because I was hoping he would be named.
Yeah, well, he's a gun, isn't he? He scored 4 tries in the preseason. Everyone sort of thought that he was going to be the one to be named, so it's a bit of a blow. But we've got Hiroti there that we can downgrade to as well as another option. But it's just the job security's not there as long as what it would have been if Finau was named. Tim,
what are your thoughts on Dylan Egan? Did you get him last week? And is he still a buy this week?
Yeah, got him last week. Didn't get Khan. It was purely just because I couldn't afford Khan. So it turned out well with him starting. Maybe he does start again this week, does shift. I like it as an owner. Hopefully it puts some people off buying him being put to the bench, just enough people. But yeah, still a great buy.
I actually thought the Dragons looked really good because it suited Luciano Leilua because he came off the bench and had more impact when he was fresh. Plus, Egan obviously looked good starting, so it suits both players in that situation, so just stick with it. Tuipulotu is a sell, as I said. Valentine Holmes, any love for him from anyone? He's dropped about 60k and he's starting to look decent.
Yeah, their draw gets a bit tricky over the next couple of weeks though. They've had their good draw, but I think towards the end of the year he'll be someone I would definitely want.
Thought he was unlucky not to get that try assist too when he sort of made that line break and they gave it to Gutho, I think. So that would have pushed his score up to about 120 from 97. So.
Doggies v the Rabbitohs. Now, plenty of names back for the Dogs. They've got Viliami Kikau on an extended bench. Burton and Tupanua are both back into that team. Jacob Carraz, he's popular. Any love for him?
Yeah. I'm pretty tempted this week. Like, you don't have to go this week with the price not changing. I'm not completely sold on what I want to do with centre wing. It's like probably the spot that I could do some upgrades. Everywhere else is pretty locked in. So it's a place I need to do some trading. So yeah, I've got to make some decisions on whether I want to go him this week. A little bit hesitant, but yeah, it's probably him and a few other guys.
Yeah, he looked good on his return before the bye, making heaps of runs, which means tackle busts and offloads, and was looking good under the high ball too. Looked really dangerous at stages. He doesn't score that many tries for a winger, but he's got that good base.
Dogs being a bit more full strength is a good thing for him though this week as well.
Yeah. I'm liking him in, I reckon.
Yeah, he looks good, but I'm worried about Origin too. Because
Lomax is out, he'd be my number one pick to pair title in there, so...
On to the Rabbitohs. So some interesting selections there. Cody Walker is back a fair bit early from a hamstring injury. Campbell Graham's back from injury as well. Josh Schuster is in reserves, so we'll keep a sneaky eye on him. Peter Mamazelos is probably the guy that's most Supercoach relevant. He's peaked in price. Do you own him? Are you looking to sell?
I do. I'm happy to ride the wave with him at the moment. I've got more bigger fish to fry, as they say. I think he's going to be a good enough play just to hold his value. But yeah, I think he's probably a sell before the Origin period.
Yep.
If he's just starting hooker week in, week out, I feel like there is that, he can go that sub 40. So I don't have him in my side. And when I watch someone like, I'm going up against a side like, say, Sabs, who does have him and they're starting him, I feel a little bit confident in that.
Yeah.
He does have the ability to get some try assists and score decent, but I think it's probably time to upgrade sooner or later to whether it be Connor Watson, Harry Grant. These guys do play Origin though, probably likely, so something to consider, but you can have one of your backup guys to cover over that period.
In terms of pure numbers, his BE is 58, so it looks like he has peaked, so I'll be looking at moving him on. One guy who definitely hasn't peaked is Lachlan Hubner. BE of 3, he's made 126k so far. What are your plans with him?
I'm just going to keep him, He's looking so good. You can confidently play him every week, I think I've got Gilbert in my team, so I'm more likely to downgrade him rather than downgrade Hubner. So he's only going to improve too as a young fella. So
Hubner up to someone like Eli Katoa would be absolutely perfect for me. If I can create 5 over
creative there. So
Dolphins v the Storm, so the Finns have got the same 17. One guy who stood out a little bit is Herbie Farnworth. Yet to score below 55, hasn't scored a try. So there's lots of base, lots of tackle bust, offloads, etc.
He has scored a try. In round 3. It was a non-line break try though, so it wasn't bulk attacking stats.
Sorry, notching 1 try. That's exactly what it says.
Yeah. I'm getting him this week over Kraz, to be honest. I've been keen on him for a couple of weeks now, and I think he's elevated himself into that elite tier centre wing.
Yep. I tend to agree. Anyone else?
Just got a bit of a tough draw next 3 games. He plays Melbourne this week, and then at Canberra, which is always a hard game, and the Roosters, but he's just a thoroughbred. He's a top-notch player. He's a Group 1 thoroughbred.
When the racing terms.
Yeah, Rob would love it if he was here, but as yet to score below 55. So, when that draw sort of softens up, I'll be looking at him.
On to the Storm, lots of news there. Hughes is named. He's been cleared of structural damage to that shoulder, so it looks like he's a good chance to play. Pappenhausen's really popular. Would you be getting on now? I mean, if you got on a couple of weeks ago...
Still cheap.
He's still got a pretty low BE.
I think for some people, it's kind of, if they've let him, not gone him, it's kind of like maybe pride's getting in the way. Maybe he's just not the guy for you. But at the price, I think in that Storm side, there is that injury risk, with Pappy, potentially. But I think he's, with 3 potential spots, you got to fit him in, I reckon.
I think Eli Katoa is an absolute must-have at some stage. It's just when you bring him in. And finally, any love for Harry Grant? He's at sort of pod levels for him this year. Hasn't quite notched those big attacking stats, but was promising on the weekend. He certainly upped his game a bit on the weekend. Then he's got Origin coming up soon. So thoughts on Harry?
I've been a Harry Grant owner the whole year. I've been a bit disappointed to how it started, but it's sort of improved gradually the last few weeks. You got a try assist on the weekend, and you got to try too. But something I want to point out with Melbourne is the next 4 games, they probably play the best Supercoach grounds there is, for them. So they play at Suncorp twice, they played Amy Park twice. So could be in for some big scores there from all the SuperCoach relevant guys.
You're
I got
frowning there.
Yeah, I got Mamazelis in my side, and Harry Grant was one of my draft trades this week, and I got no Melbourne players, so I think I need to get one in.
So Jett's just convinced you he's talking has he?
Just with the grounds, anytime they're at Amy Park, they're just they're so dangerous.
Warriors v the Broncos. So no James Fisher-Harris. I haven't actually seen a time frame on him, but it is a pectoral.
4 to 6 weeks.
4 to 6. They just put it out. Nice. C&K's out as well. Berry suspended. So lots of changes there. Good to see Demetric Valmunga with that JFH injury. Got a lot more minutes. And with him out again, I'm hoping that means a lot more game time from Valmunga.
Yeah, those boys are ripping and tearing. It's been a matter of time till I think they got a starting spot. Just needed that opportunity to have the pieces fall that way.
On to the Broncos. Lots of news there. They've picked 3.
Yeah, I was seeing us starting. Warriors.
Well, Kate Wall's in the centres because what's his name? Rocco Berry's out 1 to 2 weeks. So, if he was there long term, you'd lock him in. Yeah, for sure. I'll be getting on him for a score of trial this week, that's for sure.
Broncos. So Shibasaki. Well, first of all, Madge Maguire has picked 3 hookers in his team, which is almost
Very
unheard of.
yeah.
Smoothie, Pakes, and Walters. On to Shibasaki, though. He's made almost 300k. He's peaked. The BE is pretty high, I think 70 odd off the top of my head. So he has peaked, but he's averaging mid 60s, and he's on that edge where Ben Hunt is just producing try assist after try assist after try assist. Are you selling this week, or is he a keeper for a bit longer?
I'm selling both of him and Jesse Arthurs, but just after seeing the Warriors side and Kurt Capewell in the centres, I know they're not running at that side, but I don't know. I think there's going to be a lot of points in this game, so I'm second guessing myself.
Melbourne had a lot of joy down that side as well last week, that left side. So I'm probably going to hold Arthurs for another week and just that one more draw. Might sell him the week after. Shibasaki, I'm probably going to sell.
Yeah, so the thing with Arthurs, he has been cleared of concussion. So he's being named, it was originally deemed a Cat 1, but they've had it reduced. Roosters v the Panthers at the Roosters. So no Billy Smith. He's the 4th most purchased player this week. I don't understand why people are doing that, because the bloke who is replacing him is Nwanga Nitawazi, who looks like a pretty damn good player. So are we guaranteed that Billy Smith even comes back into the team?
I think he probably does come back.
I think he probably does, but are you going to take that risk this week and bring him in? A lot of people are jumping the gun. Plus, he's got such a big injury history. He could fall over walking out of the shower.
I think a lot of those people probably just don't realise that he's out for this week with suspension, but some people might be just not wanting Hiroti because of the job security short term. You'd only bring a short term player. You bring in Billy Smith, can probably have him for a longer term as well. He'll play over the buys as well. But there is that injury thing. If you do pick him up, is he going to make it through to the origin period, or will he pick up another injury?
On to James Tedesco, 6th most popular purchase. I desperately want him in. I can't quite create the cash. Jett, are you keen?
I want to upgrade Ongi next week. I want to hold him for another week, see how he looks with Mitch Moses. I don't want to sell Pappenhausen or Ponga. So I couldn't go Tedesco. He's looking good, isn't he? He's looking great. Might be a little aiming to go get him next week because I might have an interview lined up with him on Wednesday. So
here we go.
Yeah, might get a bit of goss on him. So see how that goes.
Nafahu White, a lot of people are selling. He's made 180 odd K, big break even. I want to hold him for the buys. What are your thoughts on him?
Kind of like Terrell May last year. I think the minutes are going to be a bit of a lottery, whereas he doesn't have the ceiling that Terrell May had to kind of bring him back to that level where he's peaked at. So I think he's a fair enough sell this week.
I sold last week. It was the only way I could really get Katoa into my side. It was a tough sell because he has been looking good, and with Lindsay Collins not being the side, there was more justification he might get bigger minutes. But I think you don't really need to hold on to these guys for Origin, even though he's been solid. If you can get a better guy into your side, time's to move on.
Robert Toya is a popular sell as well, and I think that makes sense. He's peaked. Onto the Panthers, they've got Kenny is back, the hooker. Tunga dropped to the bench, as you mentioned before, with the speed machine, Luke Garner in at the centres. Nathan Cleary, so he's not actually that popular this week, but he's dropped to 640k. That is a ridiculous price for Cleary. If you don't own him, I reckon get on, because he's averaging 75 without that concussion.
Yeah, 100% get it on him. Like, but I'm just sort of like, now Mitch Moses is back. I mean, and Hughes could drop in price a bit. Could you fade him? I mean, probably not. I mean, if I have him, but you could maybe make a case for it.
As a Panthers fan, you're saying don't go with Nathan.
Well, they've got to sort their defensive issues out before they can really earn the right to attack well.
He seems a bit cagey, Cleary, after that head knock. I think last week it looked like, not the game that he's played the week before, it looked like he copped another head knock, but like got up straight away just to sort of play it off. He seems really cagey, like it might have rattled him a little bit, so he might need a couple of weeks to sort of...
Worried about Mary too.
Yeah. Just get some...
There's something about Mary. Yeah. Titans v Raiders. So Tino's back from suspension. That means popular Supercoach player Firma is back in the back row as well. David Fafita, our thoughts on him. I've owned him from the start of the season.
Me too.
That big drop. Thoughts on him at 680k, and he has been named to start again this week.
I would have loved to see him drop a lot more money, considering he played off the bench early on. I want to see a bit more consistency because I don't want to get him in my side and have a week where he runs 5 times. So I'm just gonna wait.
Yeah, I do have to wonder, did he sort of take up a bigger role with Tino being out last week? Does he sort of ease off a little bit? Maybe Desi said, I don't really need you this week. So yeah, I'd be happy to watch again, but he seems like a good thing.
I just think he was underdone coming into the season. Like you've seen, his minutes have gradually gotten better and better. So he's starting to get his confidence back. Yeah, I'd buy him if I didn't have him. Yeah,
he did have that injury concern during the preseason, so came in a bit unfit. But certainly I'd go Eli Katoa first and then David Fafita. Yeah. Raiders, so Savelio Tamale, what are people doing with him? He's made 200k, but the BE is 49.
I don't know him, so...
Yeah, he's good. Made 200k. He's fine sell, fine hold. He won't have that upside like Purdue, but he won't lose a lot of cash, so... Whatever's best for your team.
He plays that first buy, which makes him a possible hold for me.
Yeah, I'm going to sell him just so I can free up 200k to get Drinkwater next week. So I'm selling him.
On to Knights v the Sharkies. Tyson Gamble's in the halves, which is interesting. But Kalen Ponga is the third most sold player. He has dropped... I've just lost my...
122.
Dropped 122k and a big BE of 137 this week. So, is he a sell or he's got a pretty good run coming up?
Kalen Ponga averages a lot more with Tyson Gamble inside.
Right, okay.
Haven't got the exact numbers, but I know it's a fact.
Right, there you go.
Yeah, I told him 2 weeks ago, I think you did as well.
Yep, before the bye.
That felt pretty nice. I didn't expect him to go sort of back-to-back 30s or whatever it was, so got a lot luckier than expected. It was more just about wanting to get Pappy in and was going to bring him back. But yeah, I don't know, I'd just be patient. I think it'll click. For him.
Good to see Thomas Cant knock out 50 odd in base on the weekend too. So he made 100k. Onto your Sharkies, Jett. Yep. No, so Adam Fanua-Blake has been named, so that's a good one to get out of the way first for about 20 or 30,000 or so super coaches. Mawene Hiroti is obviously the big guy there. He's the most popular purchase this week. I reckon he can make 150k in 2 weeks, and then Kyle Iro returns. Yep. He's in for me.
Yeah, he's looked awesome too. Like, no offense to him, but when he was coming in, I was like, oh, geez, I wasn't convinced he was a first grader, to be honest.
Yeah.
But he's improved out of sight this year. He's breaking tackles, he's scoring tries. Just poor old Mulatalo's not getting the ball off him, but it's because he's scoring tries. So he's looking great. As I said earlier, I think he's got another 2 weeks, so that's another 2 price rises to come. So I think he's a buy.
And the first game he played, he actually was moving a bit like Hero. It's kind of like he was ghosting him or whatever at training or in pre-season trying to get his moves.
On to Nico Hines. So he's pretty popular sell. I'll put this to you first, Jett, because I know what you're going to say.
Yeah, well, you sort of... I couldn't sell him just because you know how... Like, he's the same player that he was a year ago, 2 years ago. There's just not that many options there, you know. Like, who are you going to sell him to? Mitch Moses has come back off a long layoff. Cleary's sort of plodding. Cherry Evans is going okay. I just think you're wasting a trade if you brought him in and then just going to sell him. I don't think there's any point because he's got more upside than anyone, and he did turn up against the Rabbitohs earlier this year, and he could have gone 180 that day, but the Sharks sort of took the foot off the pedal. So if you had him, I wouldn't be wasting a trade. He's not going to play Origin.
Yeah, he plays that first buy. I've got him. I'm not going to sell, but I'm not happy having him in my team, that's for sure. Tigers v the Eels. Big news at the Tigers, of course, with all the Galvin stuff this week. The news for Supercoach, though, is that Luai goes to 5'8". So you got Jerome Luai at 360k off the top of my head, now going from halfback where he basically never ran the ball back to 5'8", where he could ignite his running game. One to watch?
One to watch.
You don't have to move this week.
Yeah.
Could free him up just not having to sort of control the side if Dewey can take that role on and him just go back to his normal sort of role. But
I think he'll play a very similar role.
So do I.
Leader in the side. Dewey's a ball runner, so
just the numbers might not mean anything. A bit like Hines and Trindle.
Yep. And then finally at the Eels, Mitchell Moses is back is the big news. But Isaiah Iongi, what are people doing with him? The break-even is 2. He's made 200k. They got the buy next week. So if I owned him and I've sold him already, I'd probably be getting one more rise out of him and then selling before the buy.
Yeah, I was going to just hold him one more week. Probably wasn't going to play him this week. Now that I've heard that Moses is in, thinking I might play him this week. Didn't play him last week. I think him just having a look at matchups, it might be a tough one for fullbacks, but I'll have to have a closer look into that. But yeah, I've got a gut feeling it's not a good matchup for him this round. So
some quick questions because we know Jett's got to get to his basketball match tonight. Yep. Quickly, Dylan Egan, is he still a buy?
Yes.
Yep.
Must have, I reckon, for the season.
Thoughts? I'm going to give this to you because you've got a shrine based around him at your house. Is Viliame Kikau a pod?
Yeah. Yeah, because, I mean, look at his 2 scores in the first 2 rounds. They were like 90-90. He's much cheaper than a lot of these like 700k guys like Fafita, Katoa. Maybe you can make room for both. Maybe it doesn't have to be one or the other. That doggy's left-hand side, we've got Preston had a great day out there a couple of weeks ago. So I think there's a bit on for him. Just coming back from injury, it's awkward because the BE's so low. So if you want to get him, you kind of want to do it now, but you just jump on back from injury. If I could fit him in, I'd do it, but I just can't.
And then final question, who's your number 1 trade-in for the buys? Obviously, James Tedesco is probably number 1 on that list, although if he does make Origin, he'll have the worst schedule over Origin. For me, I'm liking guys like Farnworth, maybe Adam Fanua-Blake if he bottoms out. Got to keep an eye on that groin. Any other guys?
Drinkwater, I reckon.
Drinkwater.
Yeah, I'm so keen to get him this week. He's looked so good this year. The Cowboys have improved. He's kicking goals as well. I think he's going to be a must-have over that period.
All very good options.
Yep, absolutely. Well, big thanks to the SuperCoach Experience, boys. Big thanks to Jett. Let us know tomorrow how you go on your basketball match.
I'll be leading the team, no doubt, mate.
And thanks to everyone. We'll catch you tomorrow.